Welcome back to my channel, Explained, where we discuss one interesting topic a day. Today, we delve into the topic of slavery in Islam, tracing its historical roots, its impact, and the evolving perspectives within the Islamic world. Get ready to uncover intriguing facts, examine notable examples, and delve into the evolving perspectives surrounding this topic. Slavery in Islam, unveiling the historical narrative. Slavery has been a recurring theme throughout human history, transcending cultures, religions, and continents. Islam, one of the world's major religions, emerged in the 7th century CE and played a significant role in shaping the world we know today. In understanding the history of slaves in Islam, it's important to acknowledge that slavery existed long before the advent of this religion. Nevertheless, Islam introduced unique teachings and regulations regarding the treatment of slaves. The pre-Islamic era. To comprehend the Islamic perspective on slavery, we must examine the pre-Islamic era known as Jahiliyyah. In this period, the Arabian Peninsula witnessed various forms of slavery, rooted in tribal customs and the spoils of warfare. Slavery was deeply entrenched, and slaves were considered property, devoid of basic rights. However, with the advent of Islam in the 7th century CE, a paradigm shift occurred in the treatment of slaves. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, emphasized the dignity and inherent worth of every human being, regardless of their social status. It presented a new framework that aimed to improve the condition of slaves and elevate their status. Islam and slavery, a paradigm shift. Islamic teachings aimed to gradually eradicate slavery rather than abruptly abolishing it. This approach is important to understand within the historical context and societal norms of the time. Islam introduced regulations, known as Maqasid al-Sharia, to ensure just and humane treatment of slaves. The Quran encouraged believers to engage in the manumission of slaves, which means freeing them from bondage. Manumission was considered a virtuous act, and numerous historical examples illustrate the practice of freeing slaves among early Muslim societies. Let's take a closer look at one remarkable example from history. Bilal ibn Rabah, an Abyssinian slave, became a close companion of Prophet Muhammad. His emancipation and subsequent rise within the Muslim community exemplified that a person's worth was not determined by their lineage or social status, but by their piety and character. The influence of Islamic teachings on slavery extended beyond the Arabian Peninsula. In regions like the Indian subcontinent and West Africa, Muslim scholars and leaders played crucial roles in challenging the institution of slavery. Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, a prominent Sufi saint, openly condemned slavery and advocated for the liberation of slaves. In the 19th century, Muhammad Bello, the ruler of the Sokoto Caliphate in West Africa, worked towards curbing slavery and promoting education for former slaves. Shah Waliullah, an Islamic scholar from the Indian subcontinent, emphasized the importance of treating slaves with kindness and advocated for their education and social welfare. It is important to acknowledge that, despite these efforts, the institution of slavery persisted in some parts of the Muslim world for centuries. However, it is equally important to recognize the progressive elements within Islamic teachings that challenged and transformed the prevailing slave systems. In contemporary times, the majority of Muslim-majority countries have legally abolished slavery, aligning with international conventions and human rights standards. Scholars and Islamic thinkers continue to engage in discussions surrounding the historical context of slavery in Islam and its implications for contemporary society. Controversial misbeliefs of slavery in Islam. Certainly, there have been controversial misbeliefs surrounding the topic of slavery in Islam. These misbeliefs often arise from misunderstandings or misinterpretations of historical events. It's important to address and clarify some of these controversial misbeliefs. Slavery as a central tenet of Islam. Some individuals mistakenly believe that slavery is an inherent and unchangeable part of Islamic teachings. However, while slavery was practiced in historical Islamic societies, it is crucial to understand that Islam did not establish or endorse slavery as a fundamental religious principle. Islam introduced regulations and encouraged the emancipation and fair treatment of slaves. Islam encourages the capture and enslavement of non-Muslims. This is a misperception that stems from misconstruing historical contexts. While there were instances of slaves being acquired through warfare, Islamic teachings emphasize the importance of treating prisoners of war with mercy, fair treatment, and the potential for their emancipation. Islam does not promote the forced enslavement of non-Muslims. Muslims are obligated to own slaves. This is a mistaken belief that arises from a misunderstanding of historical practices. Owning slaves in Islamic history was a reflection of societal norms rather than a religious obligation. Islam encouraged the emancipation of slaves and regarded it as a virtuous act. Slavery in Islamic societies was uniformly oppressive. It is incorrect to assume that the treatment of slaves in all historical Islamic societies was uniformly oppressive. While there were instances of mistreatment and abuse, Islamic teachings consistently emphasize the fair treatment, rights, and welfare of slaves. Many Muslim scholars and individuals throughout history actively work towards improving the condition of slaves and advocating for their rights. Slavery in Islamic societies was racially motivated. Slavery in historical Islamic societies was not inherently based on racial distinctions. Slaves came from various ethnicities and backgrounds, and their status as slaves was often a result of factors such as warfare, capture, or social circumstances. Islam does not promote racial discrimination or the devaluation of individuals based on their ethnicity or race. It is essential to approach this topic with sensitivity, acknowledging that historical perspectives may vary and evolve over time. By exploring the past, we gain a deeper understanding of how Islamic teachings have shaped the discourse surrounding slavery. As we conclude our enlightening journey through the history of slaves in Islam, we recognize the significant steps taken by Islam to challenge the prevailing norms of its time and foster a more humane treatment of slaves. The story of Islam's engagement with slavery serves as a testament to the evolution of social justice within the religion. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating content. Until next time, keep exploring and learning.